This 26-year-old monster, Erin Elizabeth Ann Strotman from Virginia, was arrested on malicious wounding and felony child abuse as she was going around the NICU breaking the bones of black babies. I cannot make this up. As if black women didn't have enough to worry about when giving birth. In 2021 alone, the maternal mortality rate for non-Hispanic black women in the U.S. was 69.9 deaths per 100,000 live births. This is nearly 3 times the rate of non-Hispanic white women. Studies say some of the contributing factors to this are the cumulative physiological effects of chronic stress. Nobody's disrespected more than black women in this country. Nobody has more obstacles and barriers to face in this country, to overcome in this country, than black women. But I dare to say that the number one reason is because of racial bias in healthcare. So apparently what happened is that these young babies were having unexplained fractures, so the hospital increased surveillance, and the surveillance systems found her breaking the bones of these babies. Now, typically babies that are in NICU are already fighting for dear life, and then you've got monsters like this that are going out there and deliberately, maliciously causing harm. I personally spent 10 years in prison, and I can assure you it will not be nice.
The woman was giving birth in front of the nurse, and the nurse did nothing at the hospital. And all she had to do was take her to the labor room, get her to the doctors as soon as possible. The woman literally gave birth 12 minutes later. And it wasn't enough for the fact that she was screaming for help, asking for someone to do something. No, the nurse just sat there and ignored it. She sat there, asked her questions like they were at a dental office scheduling a checkup. And this happened in 4K on the internet. It's all over the place. By the way, the name of the nurse in question is LaCrista Vaughn. And she still has her medical license. It's still up. Everything's alleged. You know, we don't know every detail, but from what we've seen, it's bad enough. Mind you, I saw another clip of the same nurse in question also having another racially charged bizarre incident with another patient. So to me, too, is a pattern, right? This isn't like a little ha hee hee, someone made a bad joke, maybe somebody did something in poor taste, whatever. No. This woman was giving birth. Literally giving birth in front of this nurse. She couldn't care less. She could not care less.
What's up? Welcome back to Cherry React. And oh my god, I don't even know how to introduce this one, because if what people are saying is true, then this is beyond disturbing. So we are talking about accusations of nurse harming black infants. At the same time, really stories continue to surface of black women not being listened during to childbirth, ignored, delayed, left in pain. So the question becomes, is this just coincidence, or is there something deeper we are not talking about? So let's get into it.
Racist nurse that was breaking the bones of black babies. This Virginia nurse was arrested last week for breaking the bones of black NICU babies. She worked at Henrico Doctors Hospital in Virginia. In summer 2023, a NICU baby was found to have a broken leg. But the mother of the child happened to be a NICU nurse herself. So she reported the incident to social services. After a year of investigation, social services concluded that the child's broken leg had been done by a staff member. The hospital placed Erin on paid leave for an entire year. This after 3 babies were found to have been with broken bones under her care. She returned to work in fall 2024, and during her absence, no children had any broken bones. But upon her return, an additional 3 children were found to have broken bones under her care. So in December 2024, the hospital decided to close the NICU unit to conduct a thorough investigation. And just last week, Erin Strotman was arrested. My question is, if the hospital knew that something was going on with this nurse, she was targeting black babies and breaking their bones.
Hey, so I want to talk about the white nurse that's allegedly harming black babies in Richmond, Virginia. So I'm going to keep looking down as we talk about this briefly because I did take notes and I just want to get all of the facts, the alleged facts together, so that you guys can be well informed of what's happening in your hospitals, in your cities, and things like that. 26-year-old Erin Elizabeth Ann Strotman received her license in May of 2019. So she has a multi-state license. What that looks like is she can practice in multiple states. She got caught harming potentially black babies because nowhere in the news it's saying that it's black babies, but we're getting reports that all of the parents are black who have been notified that their babies were harmed or anything like that. So, in summer of 2023, 4 babies were injured at this hospital in Virginia, at this NICU in Virginia. So they put this one nurse, Erin Elizabeth Ann Strotman, on administrative leave, paid administrative leave. So what that looks like is she doesn't come to work, she still gets a paycheck every 2 weeks. So she's getting paid to not be at work while they're investigating what's happening. So how did the investigation get brought about? There were two parents came in, had a set of twins. So we're going to call them baby A and baby B because I don't want to disrespect the family or anything like that. Their name is in the news, but not my place to put it out there. So anyway, baby B is very healthy. Baby A is having some complications. So that's why they're in the NICU. So baby B, they're doing well. They should be thriving and everything like that. The parents come back a week later, the baby B has a broken leg. And so, of course, dad is thinking, oh, it's my fault. I was the one. I may have been touching him too hard. I may have done anything to harm my baby. And this is where we need our nursing aunties and our nursing nieces. We need to be speaking to our family. We need to learn how to talk in layman's terms because what happened? This man, the father of the child, called his mother. His mother is a nurse. His mother's a NICU nurse. He says, hey, Mom, my son, his leg is broken. I'm talking to the hospital, and we don't know what happened. I'm just so scared, whatever. The mom says, why is the baby's leg broken? Isn't he in the hospital? And the son is telling her, yeah, he's in the hospital. And she's like, no, that should not have happened. We need to call CPS. They got CPS involved. CPS does an investigation. CPS, standing for Child Protective Services, starts an investigation on the hospital. The hospital puts this nurse on leave. So we're looking at you, hospital, as well. For all of these alleged things, you all knew which nurse to put on leave unless y'all closed y'all entire NICU. Whatever the case may be, they brought her back. So she was on the paid administrative leave, right? They brought her back, the same hospital, to come work. Before she left, 4 babies had been injured. While she was gone, no babies injured. She came back, 3 more babies had been injured. She came back in November of 2024. So they put her on leave in summer of 2023. So we went through all of 2024 and the fall of 2023 for her to be caught. And she didn't get caught until she did it again. So again, we're looking at everybody who was involved in this system, not just Erin Elizabeth Ann Strotman, 26-year-old with a multi-state license in Virginia. My question is, where was she working in between that time? Yes, I know she was getting paid, but she has a multi-state license. And one thing about the world of healthcare, they do not like to look into people. All of this is public information. The reason why I know that she has a multi-state license is because all of our licenses are online. You can find us all. Not the state that we live in or what we, like our addresses or anything like that, but you should know your public servants. So I want y'all to know, like y'all can look up a judge, y'all can look up all these other people, you can look up a nurse. And what happens is, some of these nurses, these some of these sick individuals, I won't call you a nurse, some of these sick individuals who infiltrate the healthcare system, what they do is they go from one hospital to the next hospital to the next hospital. So it is alarming that she has a multi-state license, and I want people to chime in. If you have had someone, I'm gonna skip this last part because it'll get real spicy. But yeah, that's what's going on right now. The aftermath. The hospital is talking about installing more cameras. Okay. And she is being charged with malicious wounding and felony child abuse. So felony, meaning that license gone. And honestly, I'm looking at the state board. This information just got dropped. Her license is still unencumbered. I get that it's unencumbered because we haven't solved it, or it's still, everything is still allegedly. But baby, for my skin tone.
Cases like the one going viral right now are still allegations, and it's important to let the truth come out fully. But here is where things get uncomfortable, because this is not the first time we have heard stories involving Black patients being treated differently in healthcare. So, there was a case of Black woman in labor. She was in pain, crying, asking for help. But guess what? Nurses delayed attending to her. So she was left sitting all alone, contractions getting worse and worse. And by the time they finally took her seriously, she gave birth in just 30 minutes. Think about that. That's not just a delay. That is someone being unheard at one of the most critical moments of her life. And the stories like this aren't rare. Across social media, across communities, people keeping sharing similar experiences, not being believed, pain being dismissed, care being delayed. And when you put that next to serious accusations like the one trendy, people start asking hard questions, not just about one person, but about a system.
Hey y'all, so happy Monday. Just real quick, wanted to get on here. I know we're all probably getting our week started, but I wanted to get on here because I wanted to talk about the situation I'm sure most of us have seen now with the young lady that was in the hospital who basically was being ignored by the nurse and ended up having her baby like 12 minutes later. I also saw another man on Thread last night, and he had a similar situation. He had videos of his wife being removed from the hospital by two white nurses because they claimed that she wasn't far enough along to be there. She wasn't 3 centimeters. Meanwhile, about 8 minutes later, his wife delivers the baby in their truck because he had to pull over and deliver his own child because she'd been kicked out. And I see a lot of people in shock and awe about this, but this is something that's been happening for Black women for years. We just now have the ability to record it and show you kind of, you know, what's happening with us. And I say that because 29 years ago when I had my oldest daughter, I was in a similar situation. My daughter's birthday is a week from mine, so I had only been 20 about a week, right? And I'm at the hospital by myself. My mother was not there with me, which is a whole nother story for another day. So she wasn't there, her issues with her husband. She wasn't there. So the only one there with me was a family friend who really couldn't advocate for me. So imagine I'm very young. My daughter ended up being a very big baby. She was 8 pounds, almost 10 ounces. And I was there by myself with no one to advocate for me. So I remember, I personally feel like the person who delivered my baby broke my water, because as we got to the hospital and started dealing with her on that level, I realized that she had her own beliefs regarding epidurals that I was not aware of when I had been seeing her as a patient. And I had my daughter on a military base because I had military benefits. And so I was in a situation where they were hiring midwives to deliver babies. So I didn't really have a choice. She was a midwife. And again, she had been great the whole time I'd been seeing her. But at this point, when we're getting to the nitty gritty, now her beliefs are coming out. So she kept trying to find ways to not give me an epidural, to the point where I got so far along, I was out of the ability to even have one. So I'm in active labor, in extreme pain. I'm young, I'm by myself. And I remember one of my first bad experiences was a nurse telling me I needed to be quiet because I was making too much noise and my pain wasn't that bad. Excuse me. Luckily, I've always been a mouthy person and I've always been one to stand up for myself. So I looked at her, through gritted teeth, after a contraction. I said, "Have you ever had a kid?" And she said, "No." I said, "Don't tell me how the hell this feels." But just the fact that she had the audacity to tell me that I was making too much noise in a labor and delivery room and that I needed to be quiet is already an indicator of the fact that they didn't believe I was in the pain that I was in. So I didn't get an epidural. And then you don't believe I'm in pain that I'm really in, about to push out a 9-pound baby and I'm a small ass body. So I go through the labor, I have my daughter. I lose a ton of blood, like a lot of blood, to the point that I was incoherent. I passed out in the bathroom. When they wanted me to go get up and use the restroom, I passed out in the bathroom. The nurse had to come put me back in the bed. My baby could not be with me the first 24 hours. Those nurses that were on duty were nurses that had come on later, because I had my daughter at night. So they had no idea what happened during the labor and delivery. They're calling the midwife, because every time they press on my stomach to make my uterus shrink, I'm gushing. I'm losing so much blood and they can't figure out what's going on. They call the midwife. She goes, "Oh, nothing happened. She's fine. Her labor was great." They're like, "Well, why is this lady passed out?" "I don't know. Maybe she's just tired." I went the whole night like that. Finally, the next morning, the midwife comes to check on me, proceeds to tell me that I'm going to need to have someone with me, move in with me for 6 months while my blood replenishes itself, because I did lose a lot of blood. Obviously, this is not feasible. I'm still in and out of consciousness, but I do remember that. I then remember a higher ranking doctor came in, a real doctor, and I'm thankful because those nurses that had been on duty actually called someone else and said, "Something happened to this lady, and this midwife ain't trying to do no real work on her." He comes in, looks at my charts and says, "You're in shock. You are going to die. You need a blood transfusion." Okay, so here I am again, 20 years old. It's the next day. I'm still by myself because my mom ain't brought her ass back to the hospital. Like I said, that's a whole nother story for another day. So I'm by myself and I'm like, okay. I vaguely remember signing the papers, and then that was it. I get the blood transfusion, and within the first bag of blood, I'm feeling so much better. Like, I am just like, whoa, it's like my energy went from 0 to 1,000. I was feeling better. They could bring my baby in the room. I'm finally able to call my mom. And she says to me, "Well, I was wondering what's going on. I've been calling up there. They've been saying you're sleeping all this time." And I'm like, saying to myself, "Well, lady, you didn't bring your ass up here to see what the hell going on with your child if she been sleeping for damn near 24 hours. But I digress again. That's a whole nother story. Wouldn't be my daughter, but okay. So get the blood transfusion. I'm doing great. Finally able to be released from the hospital within the next, I think, day or so. And I'm going to tell you right now, I know that there was something done to this lady, because she was calling me on my house phone, begging me for copies of my records, because I think the base cut her ass off, and I think they were trying to sue her, do some action against her. And so she was calling me personally at home, which is another form of malpractice, trying to get my medical records to try to prove something. And I was like, "Lady, if you don't ever call my motherfucking phone again." And that was that. But I literally had a similar experience where I almost died. And thank God I had nurses that came on duty to advocate for me, or I probably wouldn't be here. So I say all this to say, you can stop clutching your pearls. This has been happening to us for a long time. And what we need is reform in medical care. And we need nurses to be on their job. And we need people to advocate for us. And we need people to listen when we say we're in pain. And we need those old school views that black people don't be in the same amount of pain as white people to go away, because it's not true. And I almost died behind it. And now you're seeing 2 videos of women that are in extreme agony and being treated a certain way based on their skin color. Something's got to change.
What the fuck? What the fuck? That my whole system, my brain, my heart right now are screaming, what the fuck? Yes, I saw the video. And I'm here in this space to help you nurture your nervous system, to help down-regulate the bullshit, right? So that you can carry on with your day, so that you can do what you need to do just to live. So I'm not going to go into the descriptions. I'm not going to go into how I feel and all of the What I'm going to do is, if you've seen it too, right now, more than likely, if you're an empathetic human being, your nervous system is jacked. You're furious, right? Maybe your heart hurts, your stomach hurts, your shoulder hurts, your head feels like it's going to explode, right? Okay, if that's not you, carry on. But all the rest of y'all here with me that need some fucking relief from the bullshit, yeah, just follow me, do what I do, okay? Bunch fingers together on one hand. Doesn't matter which hand. I don't give a shit. And actually, with down regulating your nervous system, with stress relief, with dealing with anxiety, you can fucking curse. Yes, you can scream. Anybody coming at you with, oh, I know you should, don't talk that way and don't curse. It's not good for. That's called toxic positivity. I'm meeting you where you are right now. You who I'm meeting you where you are right now. Follow me so we all can fucking downregulate and not have this shit cause us suffering so that we can't anyway, let me stop talking. Here we go. Bunch fingers together on one hand. Place them right here at the base of your throat. Take the other hand flat, just like that. Place it on the side of your head. Light pressure, a light hold. I don't need you pushing in like we're not doing that. Light hold, light pressure. See how my palm is flat? That's right. You inhale through the nose and exhale through a relaxed jaw. Inhaling what you need more of right now. Me, it's peace and calm. Exhaling the bullshit. And the bullshit is any suffering that's happening in my body right now. So just breathe. No need to count. Be sure you are filling up those lungs on the inhale and on the exhale. Yes, be dramatic with it at first, because I really want you to feel the difference between breathing like this versus I want to move my hand for a moment, just show you when you open your jaw or relax your jaw. You don't have to open your mouth like I do, but when you relax the jaw, you're stimulating the vagus nerve. You are letting your nervous system know, okay, it's safe in this moment. It's safe for me to just relax. Right? Here. Just breathing. That's right. Holding this. That's right. Holding this position for 3 to 20 minutes allows for the blood flow in your brain to go back to normal instead of all of that blood, not all of it, you know what I mean, I'm not literal, going to your lizard back brain, being in survival mode, right? We want blood flowing freely throughout your brain. That's right. Holding these acupressure points for 3 to 20 minutes will help you feel better, right? It's not going to make the outrage at what happened go away, but it's going to stop it from causing you internal suffering. This is the calming touch, by the way. Just continue on doing this, and then carry on with your day. And if the pictures pop up in your mind again, if you see that video, if you hear the sounds of what it was you saw that was upsetting, maybe even traumatizing, triggering, you just, right here, calming touch, in through the nose, out through a relaxed jaw. You take care of you and be safe.
At the end of the day, truth matters, fact matter. And every case deserves a full investigation. But at the same time, we cannot ignore the patterns people keep speaking about. Because when too many voices say the same thing, it stops sounding like coincidence. It starts stopping like a problem. So I want to hear from you guys. Do you think these are just isolated situations, or is there something deeper going on in healthcare that people are finally starting to expose? What do you think? So drop your thoughts in the comment, share, like, and subscribe. And thank you guys. See you in the next one. Bye bye.